Hey guys, I'm Noah, welcome to Gopherwood, and today we're talking about the basics of enemy spawning in Unity. Let's hop into it. Alright guys, so today we're talking about enemy spawning in Unity, the part of the game where you're just walking along and everything seems fine, except that music is awfully intense and the game just auto-saved for no reason, and then oh no, you're surrounded by enemies everywhere with seemingly no hope in sight, and then you die and the game ends. Well, most of that was true. Alright, today I'm going to show you guys how to spawn enemies in Unity. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and make your enemy. I just made him a little red cube here. And then once you've made him, you're going to want to make sure that that enemy is a prefab. So go ahead and drag it over to your folder, your projects folder over here. And I would recommend putting it in a prefabs folder. And then after you've done that, you're going to want to create a C# script called, you can call it whatever you want. I called mine spawning. And we're going to go ahead and put that on the main camera. And then go ahead and hop into that C# script. And then we'll go ahead here and make a reference to our new enemy. So we'll say public transform, and we'll call it enemy. Go ahead and save your script and hop back into Unity. Then go over to your main camera, and we're going to assign the enemy to our enemy variable over here. So just drag from the hierarchy and put it into this slot. And you don't actually need this enemy to be on the map anymore. Since he's a prefab, we already have our blueprint. So you can go ahead and delete this enemy if you want. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how to spawn enemies in randomly within some parameters. So let's say you want your character to come into this area and then you want 6 enemies to randomly spawn, but you want them to be confined to a certain area of the map. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Alright, so in order to create our grid to confine our enemies to, we're going to need to do that by making 4 posts to make that box or that grid that our enemies are allowed to spawn in. So to do that, go ahead and hop over to your hierarchy and right click anywhere, and we'll go ahead and click create empty, and this is going to be one of our posts. Now we could try to match the X and Y value to get it on the floor properly, but if you just go ahead and hold V, that'll activate your snap tool, and you can grab this and we can snap it to the corner there. So that's helpful, and we'll go ahead and retitle this. We'll call it post 1. And then we need to make some more of these. So alright, once you have made your posts, go ahead and hop back into our script here, and we could make an individual reference to each of our posts, which isn't too bad for only 4 posts, but it's very possible that you'll have multiple enemy spawning areas. So I'll show you guys a cleaner way to do this. So we're going to want to go ahead and make an array. So this will be a public, and we'll still say transform, but then we're going to put 2 square brackets after it to identify to Unity that this is an array. And we're going to go ahead and call it boundary. Now once you've done that, go ahead and save your script and hop back into Unity. And if we go over to the main camera, there's now going to be a boundary variable here, and it has this little arrow here. So if we go ahead and click that, we can now modify the size of our array, or what it's really asking is how many elements are going to be in this array. So the answer to that for ours is 4, so we'll put 4 in. Now notice, it starts with 0. That's very crucial. When it comes to programming, everything starts with 0, especially arrays. So we count 0, 1, 2, 3. So for instance, later if you wanted to access the 3rd element of the array, you would need to access element 2, because the first element is 0. Alright, so we can go ahead and assign these. Post 1 to 0, 2 to 1, 3 to 2, and 4 to 3. Okay, so once you've done that, go ahead and hop back into Visual Studios, and there's a 3rd variable we're going to need to make here. And this one doesn't need to be public. By the way, public just means you can see it in the inspector. And also it means other scripts have access to it. So if you make a private variable, then... So also what I mean by the inspector is this over here. So since we made these 2 public variables, the enemy and the boundary, we've been able to modify them over here. But if I make it private, then it won't show up over here. And we don't need it to, so that's why I made it private. Always make variables private if they don't need to be public. Alright, so we'll make a private, and we'll make an int, and this is, we're going to call it enemy num. So the amount of enemies that we want, and we'll set this equal to 6. You can set it equal to whatever you want. I'm just going to use 6 enemies for the demonstration. So the next thing to do is write the code to spawn the enemies. Now, since we have 6 enemies, we could write this code 6 times and to spawn each individual enemy, but especially as we get to later levels, if you want waves and waves of enemies, this is going to wind up being hundreds and hundreds of lines of code and way too much to deal with. So what we're going to do is use a function called a loop. And a loop will repeat the same couple lines of code as many times as you tell it to. As far as loops go, there's for loops and while loops. You guys can look up on the scripting API guide the difference between them, but I'm going to show you guys for loops because I think they're the easiest and they make the most sense to me. Alright, so this starts with the word for, open parenthesis. The first parameter in here is you have to create an integer that's going to count up. So this is showing it how many times you want to do it. So we'll create an integer, we'll call it I, and we'll set it equal to 0. And then you can put a semicolon inside there. So we're setting our initial variable to 0, and then we're going to say as long as, so the next one is a conditional. So as long as I is less than 6, or we'll say is less than or equal to 6, and then a semicolon. So we're going to keep doing this as long as this number, as long as I is either less than 6 or equal to 6. Then the next one is what's going to happen every time. I, and we'll say I plus plus, which by the way, I plus plus is the same as saying I plus equals 1. So you're basically saying every time add 1 to I, but I plus plus is like a little shortcut for it, and you don't actually need a third semicolon in here. Next, we need 2 brackets. So it's going to run everything inside here, and every time it runs it, it's going to add 1 to I. So after it runs it once, I will be equal to 1, then 2, and so on, until it is until it is greater than 6. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to want to do inside of our for loop is instantiate our enemies. So you might remember we talked about this a little bit in our shooting video. So we're going to go ahead and say transform, because we need to create a new variable for each of our individual enemies. So transform, and we'll call it enemy with a lowercase e, or you can call it whatever you want. It just can't be the same exact title as your enemy up here. So that's why I lowercased the e. Transform enemy equals, in parentheses, transform, and then instantiate, parentheses, and then what are we going to instantiate is the question here. So we're going to instantiate our capital E, enemy, and then the next question is where are we instantiating it? So now is where it gets tricky, because we don't exactly know where we want it to instantiate it. We want it to be somewhere randomly in our boundary. So to accomplish the randomness, we're going to go ahead and create 3 more variables. And they can all be private, and they will also all be integers. So private int, and we'll call it position x. And then we will go ahead and create 2 more. So then go ahead and go back into our for loop, and above this here, we're going to go ahead and say position x equals, and now we have our random function. And in C#, in Unity, this is called random.range. And now this will produce a random number between 2 scopes of numbers. So our x position is going to be the random between the left and the right. So remember, we have our post 1 and post 3 on the left, and post 2 and 4 on the right. So we'll go ahead and find the random range between our first and second post. So this will be inside of our array here, which we call boundaries. So we'll go ahead and call boundary, and then use our square brackets, boundary 0. So that's our first boundary, because remember, arrays always start from 0. So boundary 0 dot position dot x. So it's x position. And then the second parameter is pretty much the same. We'll go ahead and copy it, except this is going to be boundary 1 dot position dot x. Now you might notice that everything is underlined red, and no, that is not good. That is never good. So if we hover over it, it's going to tell us the problem, and it says here it cannot implicitly convert type float to int. And it's asking us over here, are you missing a cast? So what we could do here is change these from floats to ints. So what that means is an integer is essentially a whole number. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a float, which we've talked about in previous videos, is a decimal number. So anything 3.4, anything like that. Now, a random range is converting between two ints, and we've just inputted what's possible to be a float. So we need to change that. So there's a couple ways we could change that. One, we could just turn these from ints to floats, which is probably pretty easy. But also, we could change these inside here from floats to ints. So it's going to round them to the nearest whole number. So how we do that is we put two parentheses before a float, and we put int inside it. So it's going to convert this, and we need to put this in parentheses as well. So it's going to convert this to an integer. These are now casted from floats to integers. So now that we've done this for the x value, we just need to do it for the y and the z, except we actually don't need to do it for the y. So if you remember, the y position is up and down. So we don't need that to be a random range. In your game, it's very possible that you want them to be at random heights, so you can just follow this pattern for the y value. But for mine, I want my enemies to be at about the same height as my player. So if we go ahead into Unity and look at our player, over here we'll see that our height, over here our y position is 0.6. So we'll go ahead and make it 0.6 over here. And don't worry about this error, we're going to go ahead and fix it. That's just because we haven't finished this line yet. So we'll make our y position equal to 0.6f. Now, 0.6 is a float, and we have to put f's at the end of our float, and we have an error, and this is the same error that we got over here. Now, we could cast it, but that's going to change this from 0.6 to 1. So instead, we're going to go over here to position y and change it to a float. All right, now we need to do this for our z position. So that's going to be pretty similar to position x. So we'll go ahead and copy this. Whoop. And paste it down here. And we'll change this from position x to position z. And we also need to change which boundaries we're using. So we can still use boundary 0 because that's our upper left corner. But now we need to change this from boundary 1 to boundary 2. And then we don't want the x values because that's not going to help us. So we're going to go ahead and use the z values. All right, so what's happening here is every time that this for loop gets run, it's going to find a random x position, which is left to right, between our back two posts. It's going to find, it's going to make our y equal to 0.6 every time. And you can change this if you want. And then it's going to find a random forward and backward distance, or z position, between our upper left and bottom left posts. So that should keep everything within the box. So now we're ready over here to make our position. So where we want this to go. So this is going to be a vector 3. So we'll go ahead and say vector 3. Oh, we want it over here. Over here, vector 3. And this takes 3 parameters, an x, y, and a z. So our x is going to be post x. Oh, man, it's adding all kinds of stuff. X is post x. Our y is position y. And our z is post z. All right, and then we have a third parameter. And that is our rotation. So since my enemies are cubes, it doesn't really matter for me how they're rotated, but we talked about rotating correctly in our shooting video, excuse me. So go ahead and check that one out for rotation. For now, we're just going to go ahead and say quaternion.identity, and that means it's just going to come in rotated the same as it was in its prefab. Now we still have an error over here, and I think that's just because we need to say new vector3. Yeah, so you're going to want to go ahead and call it a new vector3. All right, now go ahead and save your script. And if we hop back into Unity, okay, so if we go ahead and push play, you should see our enemies spawn. But it is spawning way too many of them. It keeps going until it fills our entire area. Now the reason for that is because since it's in our update, this for loop is starting over every time. So we need to fix that. So we'll go ahead and create a new void. We'll make a new function and we'll call this void spawning. And we'll go ahead and put all of this code inside of here. Oh, also, the reason why this is redlined is because it's the same title as my script, and you never want to do that ever, ever, never. So we'll say spawning enemies. Okay, now we're going to want to make sure that this is only run once. So to do that, we'll create a Boolean. So this is a true or false value. So we'll make a private bool, and we'll call it spawn. And we'll set it equal to true. Because at the beginning of the game, at least in my game at the beginning, we want it to spawn at the beginning. Now, in your game, you might not want the enemies to spawn right off the bat, so this could be false, and you could create a reason that this would be tripped to true, like if the player walks through a certain area. But for my game, I'm just going to go ahead and start it at true. And then we'll go ahead and say in the update, if spawn, then we'll go ahead and run spawning enemies. And then inside of spawning enemies, right off the top here, we're going to go ahead and say spawn, I cannot spell, spawn equals false. Then this code should only be run once. Alright, so if we go ahead and save that and hop back into Unity, if we push play, then you'll see it spawns our enemies. But it also, you might be able to tell here, it spawned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 enemies. And that's my bad.
Right. My bad.
That is because I messed this up over here in our for loop. It's not less than or equal to 6 because that would make it run 7 times. So we just want it to be less than 6. If I is less than 6, we'll run it. So then it should run 6 times. So one last time, if we go ahead and hop back into Unity and push play, it should spawn us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies. Voila! Alright guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up our video on enemy spawning. Please leave a comment down below on what video tutorial you want me to do next, and please subscribe for more content. See you guys next time.